tragic accidents just happen all the time in Carroll County. I'm just saying. It's a very, very unlucky place to live. They dropped the charges because it was accidental. You don't accidentally run over somebody and back up and try to do it again. Let's start from the beginning as investigative reporters, right? So you would ask the questions who, what, where, when, and why. Should be easy, right? Of course it is. Yes, I know, you're innocent until proven guilty, but what good does that do you if you are not alive?
Well, hello, my silky friends. How are you doing tonight? Let me get your comments up. Sorry. Still using this newer platform. I hope you are excited about tonight's show because I am so excited to have y'all and to talk about this. I'm not going to take too long, but I do want to show everybody that's here. Everybody who comes in first, look, I always highlight. Hello, Gloria. I spelled that wrong. Sorry. I tried to reply to you, but I didn't have my glasses on. Hello, Allison. Balanced Jade. It's good to see you. Yoli. Hey, Yoli. We got to do a show together. Really? You're having to... Okay. Hey, honestly, like, email me, Discord me, something. We need to do a show together. We always talk about missing body parts. Fun stuff. Honey Bun, good to see you. Now I'm hungry. Shelby Rains, hello. Linda K, one of my favorite people. The ringing ears have disappeared. Hey, good. Like, look, I know you were going through it, weren't you? I'm glad to hear that. Like, I've been praying for you. All right. We're going to talk about missing 911 and digital. Hello. Good to see you. Let me tell you real quick so you know what's coming up. I am going to I'm going to be going out of town in a few days. Yeah, Yoli, Wisconsin. Yes, we can talk about that. Absolutely. I'm probably not going to give much of a heads up. Just so you know, I am going to be going back to Nashville, but I'm keeping it on the down low when I'm going until I'm there. And then, I will be bringing an officer with me, and, I'm looking more into Riley Strain. And also there's another missing person, Matthew Parasini, who disappeared from the bus station on March 30th. So I am going to be looking, we're going to be following it. We're going to be asking questions, seeing if we can find out anything. There's been a massive search, but so far nothing. Shelby, you've got a ham in the oven. Dang. Yummy. I love some ham. Okay, I'm not going to go any further. Super excited to introduce you to my guest because I am trying. Hello, Laura. I am trying to convince him that he needs a channel. I have known this person basically all his life, okay? And he has such a interesting brain pattern, okay? Very outside the box thinker, which is why it's perfect for this show. So, I'm going to challenge y'all throughout this live. I want to see how quick his thinking is. I want you to ask him some ridiculous questions in between here and let's see how he answers. Does that sound like fun? It sounds like fun to me. No, Jade, we do not have any updates on really much on Riley, and none on Matthew Parasini. Daniel, hello. Good to see you. Okay, without further ado, let me bring up my guest, who is Brain Bungle. Brain Bungle is, I guess we caught him in the middle of supper. Do you want to be called Bungle or Brain?
Either's fine. I don't mind.
Listen to that voice, okay? Don't you think he should be reading something? Every time I talk to him on the phone, I'm like, you need to be reading stories for nighttime. So
I'm just glad to be here. That's it.
Okay, so you have a little bit of, actually a lot of streaming, like game streaming experience, but I've been trying to talk you into YouTube for a long time.
And I might just do that, but I don't know. I gotta feel comfortable, I suppose.
Yeah, well, maybe we can get him comfortable tonight. This is a great group of people. I don't usually get trolled that much, but if I do, I like to play with them. All right. So let me just ask you: do you know what a missing 411 case is?
Me?
No, I know you're not missing. I can see where you are. Do you know where do you know what? When I say a missing 411 case, what do you have any idea what that means?
I used to text 411 to like a service to get information about things. So I don't say that I would know.
Okay. All right. Well, here is the thing. It's actually quite horrifying. So I've got a couple of articles pulled up, but there is a guy, and we're going to see a little video snip of him, of a guy called David Politis. And he used to be a police officer, and now he's an investigator. And he has kind of put together some things about, when they say missing 411, what you should think of is like X-Files, okay? Because
what does the 411 mean?
It means it doesn't fall into a standard category. Like a standard category would be like if someone goes missing and they went hiking and all of a sudden you can't find them. They probably fell, they probably injured themselves, whatever, and you find them eventually, in a state that is reasonable. Okay, it could happen. 411 cases are when it has no reasonable explanation. Now, this has been happening for a couple of 100 years that we know of, documented. And in some of these cases, people are like on a trail in a group, and they could be hiking in a state. It happens extremely often in state parks. And they could be walking, and you're talking to somebody. Literally, people have been talking to somebody who's walking behind them or right in front of them, and for some reason they bend down to tie their shoe, step 1 foot off the trail, or they're just behind. In one case, it was 3 feet behind, and they're talking, and then the person doesn't answer. So the person in front of them is like, "Hey," They turn around, missing, gone. Immediate search, never found again, vanished into thin air. Have you ever heard of those kind of stories?
Well, I've heard of a couple of them. Are you familiar with the Bermuda Triangle? I think there's a little bit of those things that happen there. Also, for a while, people talked about fairies. I actually heard a story one time where some fellow walked, he was sitting at they were at a camp. And he just walks into the woods, and then he's gone. He's gone for a long time. And then 20 years later, he comes back, and he's the same age or something crazy like that.
What?
Is that? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I've not heard that story.
I don't know what the name of that story is, but I want to say they wanted to say it was something about fairies or wood nymphs or something like that. So I mean, but
Wow.
yeah. Sometimes I'm having a bad day, and I'll walk into the woods just to see if I can skip 20 years. What was the story of Rip Van Winkle? Didn't he like go to sleep or something?
Yes.
How was that?
He slept. Yeah, that's a long time. I haven't heard that for a long time, but yes, he slept for 20 years. He just didn't he go, y'all? Didn't he fall asleep under a tree or something? I don't know. Anyway, he wakes up 20 years later, and his wife is an old woman now, and his kids are all grown, and yeah,
Oh wow.
that's the gist of it. Yeah. So, yes, very good points, Laura. It's funny though, Brain, Bungle, Bungaloo, Bungo, but I don't know. That's have fun with that. But it's funny that you should mention fairies because I just had pulled up an article, and I don't even have it pulled up anymore. It was actually from a college. It was a college level course, and in that they started talking about fairies. And I'm like, oh, this is ridiculous. But they had all these news articles, and then there were all these points about the fae, the fairy people, the fae.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, I am not reading that out. I am not. I had no idea you had ever heard anything about the fae and this missing people. So, yeah, Laura, the profile points. Someone feels a little sick, okay? Which, if I'm hiking up a mountain, I'm probably going to feel a little sick. I'm not going to lie. It always happens when someone gets slightly, and not even big separated, slightly separated from the group. And then there is always a huge weather issue where they delay the search, whether that's tornadoes or torrential rains or snow or some kind of thing that makes it harder to search initially. So that is, hello CC. Let me just say hello to, did I miss anybody? I said hello to Mythical. Okay. Yeah, so I'm gonna, let's see. The problem with this is that, and I'm gonna put this, hold on just a second. Let me present this. There are several things. Okay, let's look at the locations. Oh, we don't want to see coupons. What is this? So crazy. All right. I have not, on EVMux, I could reduce this, but y'all, I don't know how to do this on StreamYard. I forgot. So, but I want you to look at this. There are this is actually old information because this says total unsolved cases are 335. But look at this on the map. Okay, can you see that? Look at how they are really concentrated on the West Coast and close to, like, I think over here is like Yosemite and some of these. But we do have in the southeast, we do have a few. And I thought, Bungle, that you would find this interesting because look at this.
Yo, did that say Little River Canyon?
Yes, that's what I wanted to. Hold on, I'm gonna let me change my settings for my audio. I'm getting an echo. There we go. All right. Yes. I'm still getting it. Why am I getting it? Okay. Little River Canyon. This is in 12/25 of 2020, and if you remember, we were at Little River Canyon in April of 2020. Yeah, April. And this lady goes missing without a trace, still missing, but still only 3. Then you go down to Arizona, okay? Look at all these people, 21 people. Look at California, 82 people. And look at Yosemite. Look at all those Yosemites.
Quite the vacation hotspot. Are we
Yeah, it's
gonna
like,
take a trip out there sometime?
I know, right? It's like, interesting because here's the thing. What do they say? When you pull up in the gate or whatever and you're gonna take out a camping spot, are they like, hey, welcome to Yosemite, home of the missing?
Yeah, no kidding.
You know,
I wonder how many. I wonder. There's a lot of folks at Yosemite, but like, of course, I've never been, and I was thinking like, what are how many? What are the statistical odds that you end up being missing? Right? Like if only like I don't know like that 20 people go every year, then that's a lot. That's like you got to prepare. You got to bring like a survival kit. You're going missing. But like if it's like thousands, then it might be a bunch
yeah.
of drunk folks.
Well, the thing of it is now, for some of the people that go missing, they may find their remains like months or years later. But for these that they're talking about, it's like they never find them. Are y'all having, let me ask you this because I am getting an echo. Can y'all hear me or is my mic cutting out? 'Cause I don't know what to do. It's not usually this bad, but I
You're
don't
getting
usually have
echo
an
of
echo.
you or of
Yeah,
me?
no, of me. And I
Hmm.
never hear that, so I don't know what's going on. No echo here. Can you hear me? Is my voice cutting out or is it just on his end?
I can hear
It's
it. It
you
only
can hear
changed
it.
a little bit once you changed it, but it seems fine now.
Okay. All right. Just want to be sure. Um, so what were we talking about?
Something about Yosemite.
Yes. The disturbing thing, y'all, about these disappearances is that when David Paulides started like looking into these disappearances and stuff, he realized that there is no national registry for missing persons in a like a state park situation. They don't even have to report it as missing from their park. I mean, it doesn't make news. They don't keep statistics. Some people are working on
Not
that
even
now.
like a tally. Like the park ranger would just scratch a piece of paper and like, well, that was one. They don't even do that much.
No.
I don't know anything about park rangers, honestly. But
Well,
if they're the ones in charge, if it's under their jurisdiction, then that's a little suspicious. I wonder.
well,
Let's see how to become a park ranger.
I think maybe what you have to do is go into the guard shack or into the ranger shack and look and see on the wall. Like, are there like little marks? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 slash, and then if you walk in there and there's only like three, you're like, okay, not so bad. If there's like 35, you're like, excuse me, we've decided not to stay.
Yeah. Let's see here.
Yeah, we will be leaving at sunset. Um, but yeah, so when David Paulides started looking at this, he's like, this has been going on for at least 100 years and plus, and nobody is keeping a record of these people. Like, it doesn't really make the news. And you know what is really crazy is when I looked up, let me show you. Um, Let me go all the way down here because the biggest one is in California. But let me keep on scrolling because I thought this was very disturbing, even though it's not as bad as California. I went all the way down here to the great state of Tennessee. Now look at this. All of these people, except one who went missing on Lookout Mountain, all came from, well, yeah, the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. Do you know how many times I have been in that park? Um,
Two or more or
Too
less.
many. Too many.
Oh, okay.
Too many. When I found out that and these are the people that we know of, okay? Again, they don't have to keep a tally for this. So we're looking at, let me stop sharing this one. So we're looking at people who go missing that they're never on the news. Um, it's not reported. They're not having these big search teams and stuff like you do for a regular missing person. And they like to keep it hush hush because that is, federal or state land. And hey, that's their business. They don't want to tell you, may the odds be in your favor. Enjoy.
I don't know. I'm growing increasingly suspicious of park rangers. I'm like laser focused on them right now, actually. You don't ever hear of them. And when someone goes missing, what did they not call the police not keep track? Is it supposed to be the rangers that keep track? Or
Yes. It is under their jurisdiction. But they're not required to report it, and they're not required to make a big deal about it,
why aren't they? But they don't. They're not even required to keep a log, though, right? That's what I'm understanding.
They weren't, unless that has changed. If anybody knows, put it in the comments. But yes, Laura, they can't find a rationale for why they died. They often turn up in 2 feet of water, or let me tell you this: it's also a thing. They are often disappear from berry bushes, like blackberry bushes or whatever, or they are found like in a remote area that they couldn't possibly have gotten to so quickly in a fruit bush.
They disappear near berry bushes,
or they turn up near berry bushes in a place that they couldn't possibly have gotten to.
You know what that sounds like to me?
What?
You know the story of Vlad the Impaler, how he would put the heads on outside of his castle to scare everyone away. I'm pretty sure the bears are doing that because they eat berries, and the bears are tired of folks trampling through, making all sorts of hullabaloo. Let's see, how sentient are bears?
So did you find out what it takes to be? Do you have to have a college degree? I think you do to be a park ranger.
It's like, yeah, it's like 2 years, but it's really minimal. It's like, do you have a degree in horticulture or police and science, criminal justice, or perhaps environmental study? Like, it's very vague,
Okay.
But I mean, like, I don't know. Oh, wait, there's a training tab. Oh, what do you have to? Because cops, they have to like go through like a class and they have to pass like physical education and all this. But like for park rangers, do you just have to fit into like a pair of 30 like shorts that go above the knee, or like? I mean,
I don't know. I know a deputy that was offered a job as a park ranger, and he's only been a deputy. I mean, you're in charge of keeping the law in the state park, but along with that, I mean, obviously you're going to be out in the elements, you're going to be exposed to wildlife and stuff like that. So I don't know. Is anybody related to a park ranger?
bears are highly intelligent animals. They can count, use tools, solve problems, and communicate with a It's the bears. It's been the bears this whole time.
It's the
Get
bears.
me on the phone with the chief of bear police. Bear police. No, I don't know. Yeah.
But if you were,
go ahead.
well, if somebody was 3 feet behind you and a bear came and snatched them, you would hear and see the bear. Like, a bear is not going to sneak up on you and take somebody. Like, that's a big animal.
I mean, yeah. I mean, okay, but have you been attacked by a bear? Do you know, like, maybe they are sneaky, or maybe they pretend to be like a big bush or something, and then you are picking berries, and then you touch the bear, and it's like it's too late, you can't get away. I don't know. I'm just kidding.
I don't see a bear being that light-footed. I just don't. Yoli says a lady here in Southern California went missing while kayaking. Yoli, did they ever find any trace of her anywhere, or was she found somewhere, bizarre? Because and that's usually the 911 cases. I mean, 411 cases. No explanation. Hello, Moonlight Rays. Good to see you. I'm behind here. Hello, Dr. NBM. Game wardens have absolute power in Florida. Well, see, there you go.
That's what I was afraid of. But if they don't have accountability to anybody but themselves, I guess it doesn't sound like the police are like keeping tabs on what the rangers are doing. So,
Hello, Bev. Um,
I mean, if
but that's the problem. That is why you have kind of you have the regular police and then you have the forest police, and they are not trying. I mean, they're not
the
trying to
forest
get.
police, you can't park there.
Well, they do say that. The park
Oh,
rangers will
okay.
tell you can't park there.
Oh, because they're
Yeah.
the park rangers. They would know
Rangers.
where you can park and not park.
Yes.
I understand. No, I get it. Okay. Okay. No,
Exactly.
I was confused at first, but no. Honestly, if I were going to start a cult based in nature, I would definitely be a park ranger. Park ranger. I would be
A cult?
like that. Well, yeah. I mean, or like. If no one's keeping, how many park rangers are there really? Like, is it like like police have like like hierarchy, but like what? I mean, are there just like 4 guys or
I
something?
don't know. It's the park ranger king. I don't know.
Oh,
and
okay.
And the jest. I don't know. I don't know.
Bro, have you seen the vehicles that park rangers get to drive though? They're like, oh, what's the word?
Yeah.
Not subaqueous. They're like they can literally drive on land and drive on water. I mean, that's
Oh,
a pretty
that's
convincing reason to become a
what
park
is the
ranger.
word? What is the word?
Amphibious vehicle.
It's not something like that. Yes. Yes. Have you ever been on one of
All-purpose
those?
Have I ever been on one? No.
Yeah.
Have you?
Okay. Yes. If you go to Stone Mountain, Georgia, you can get on this thing. It looks like a big bus, and you're rolling down the road. Now, albeit you're not going that fast down the road, but it's got tires, and you're going down the road, and then it just goes straight into the water, and there you are, and it becomes like a riverboat. It's
Does
crazy.
it make you feel like James Bond or something when you can do that?
It kind of does.
Ba bum ba da 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 da.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
Yeah,
you know-
I know. It's cool though. It's really cool.
I bet.
Dang it, Yogi Bear. Why? I know, right? All this time, we thought he was the good guy. Sneaky bear.
That wasn't actually a cartoon; it was a documentary or something. I don't know. So I don't keep track with true crime a whole lot, but I know or I've heard that trafficking is a big deal. Like it's a lot. I don't want to say it's a lot more popular because that's probably the wrong word to use for such a tragedy, but it's a lot more common, I guess, than people I would assume, right? Is that the case? Like happens a lot more than you think, kind of thing?
Yes. It does, and that's the problem. It happens a lot, but we're not aware because they don't have to report it. They don't have to keep up with it. Yes, moonlight rays, absolutely. More awareness. And that's what I'm trying to do here. Like to make you understand. Now, I love nature. I love it. I was raised out in Sasquatch country, and I'm an only child. So I only had myself. I entertained myself, and so I played with the bugs and the spiders and the snakes, and I would roam the woods by myself, and that's just the way I was. But being in nature is very, you get used to. Like there are certain things that you get used to. There is a certain feel in the air when a predator, and you can't even see it, like you can sense the change, the change in the wildlife, the change in, I don't know, it's like a sixth sense when you get very acclimated to nature. So, but in a lot of these cases, these people are avid outdoorsmen or women, and they're very sensitive to this. So how does this happen? It's just like poof, gone.
It sounds like it would have to be human. I'm pretty sure that when like bears or other large predators are around, like the birds get quiet and stuff like that. But I guess if it's just another fella who's hanging around you or something, although there's, it could easily, I guess, be supernatural too. I have a buddy, I told you this before, who was, it wasn't like a national park like one of these, but it was like a trail. Well, actually, it was in a state park in one of the various trails they have. And he was walking like along like the top of a ridge, and he like scales down and he goes down towards the bottom. He had thought he had seen some like, I don't know, witchcraft paraphernalia or something along those lines. And he gets all the way to the bottom, and then he takes one more step. He was looking down, and then he was suddenly back at the top of the ridge. And it was like 50 feet. It was unmistakable. And he had left something. He had left his guitar up there leaning against a tree. And he literally teleported like that. And I mean, that's what he says, of course.
Wow.
I've always wanted to do something like that. But.
Let me understand this. So he was, you said about 50 feet or so?
Yeah.
Okay, so he was going, let me get this in my head. He was left his guitar at the top. He thought he saw something suspicious, maybe cult activity or whatever. So he leaves his guitar, starts walking down the hill, and when he gets so close to him, all of a sudden he's back at the top?
Yeah, so he goes down, and he's looking around, and he steps up on this log, because it was like not the floor, the ground was just like deep with leaves, so it was like difficult to like trudge through. And there was this log he was standing on, a fallen log, and he takes one step off of it, and then he's suddenly at the top. So I don't know if that makes a difference, but
it was still like a teleportation.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it didn't freak him out apparently as much as it would have freaked out anyone else, I think. But he was like, huh. And then he just kept going down the trail. He didn't go like, time to go home. He's like, well, let's see what else is ahead of us here, and he goes, I mean, brother, I don't, shoot, dog, I'll tell you, that happened to me, but like,
I don't know. I'm trying to wrap my head around that. How upset would I be? I don't know. I've had so many weird things happen to me in my life. I'm not sure if I would be really freaked out or not. But you bring up a good point, because in a lot of these cases, what they are talking about is portals. Now, they're not talking about, although there is an alien, you can make an alien connection, and we can talk about aliens if you want, but they have said that there is such a thing as natural portals. Like, it's just when the weather's right, when the area is right, everything has to be perfect in some kind of synchronicity, and then a natural portal opens. Now, I don't know where people, but they say there's something that draws people to these portals in the right conditions, and so that is a hypothesis, one theory, that they're walking through portals. Have you ever heard of a natural, not an alien portal, but a natural portal?
I don't know, maybe. I think everything I know is actually related to aliens. Most of it, except for that one story about the fairies and all that. Nothing that comes to mind specifically relating to natural portals. No, and where would they go? Is it like the humidity and temperature type of thing, or is it like the trees are alive or something?
No, I don't know. My understanding, and I'm glad you said this, Hiawatha. It's good to see you, by the way. Paulides, okay, he's written several books, and for some people he's very controversial, and I'll let you listen to him a little bit in just a second. But it shows proof. Okay, I have not seen that, Hiawatha. Proof of these actual portals. Huh.
Like a picture of a portal? Like a Doctor Strange portal? Or?
Yeah, I don't think it's like a telephone booth.
No, that's Doctor Who. I'm talking
Oh,
about the Marvel
sorry.
guy. Yeah, he does like it makes a circle or something.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Gotcha. I particularly, I wouldn't get into a circle. I don't think I would get into a circle. That's kind of intimidating. But would I get into a phone booth? I think I would. I'd just be curious. Let me see what's in here.
Brother, let me tell you something. In 2024, if I see a phone booth, it is definitely suspicious. There's something crazy going on. It's not from this dimension, or it's like got a fake bottom and I'm going to be like trapped in a well or something.
I know. I know. Well, it is a little sus, but they're really cool. It's like
Phone
what
booths?
happens? Yeah. Like you feel all cozy, like you're all enclosed. I don't know.
The-
I'd get in one. So now you know how to kidnap me. Put a phone booth out somewhere, and I'm gonna walk in it.
You're the definitely type of person to walk into a portal in nature. I was going to say earlier, like, oh, something lures them. What is it like? Some guy is like, oh, a piece of cheese. A piece of cheese. And then there they go. They're just up Cheese Mountain. That's you,
No, not cheese. Steak, tacos. Yeah.
on
I'd
the
be like,
ground outside in the woods, or just
Yeah.
like would they have to be on a plate?
you
How
know
much
what?
cutlery do you think a bandit would have? Like 100 plates to lure you up a mountain, and then the cost of steak. Where would he grill it? Like, is it like barbecue steak, or did they have like? Did they bring it from home?
No, I mean just one good T-bone. I don't care if it's on the grass. I can wash it off. I see one nice looking T-bone there. I'm like, I'm walking over to it. Yeah, I am. And I'm gonna sniff it, make sure it smells good, wash it off, and I'll be like, oh, dinner.
I think you are a bear. Actually, you might just be a bear. I just had this image of you just like, and then just hunched over eating it, and then a net falls from the trees, and you're like,
I will tell you this. One morning we had ribs for dinner, and I eat junk in the morning. I eat separate for breakfast. And it's when we were at PH, and Austin had come in. I didn't even know anybody was there. And I was sitting on the couch, and I had the rib, and I was just going to town on it. He walks by the door, and he said, you look like a deranged lioness eating a gazelle. And I'm like, what's your point?
you probably got too lost in the moment, but you're probably like growling and stuff like that.
Could have been. I left some
Lost
ribs.
in the sauce, the barbecue
Yeah.
sauce.
Yes. Lost in the sauce. Oh my God. Okay, let me see what y'all are saying. Okay. A parallel universe. And what, okay, let me ask y'all. Where do these portals, because I have not seen Vanished, where do these portals take you? Do we know?
If they do take you to a parallel universe, one that you also would be in, and you think that you might find yourself in a place where you'll be going, you should create a secret handshake that only you would know to do to the other version of you, so that you know that you guys are tight. And if he doesn't do it back to you, then you know you're in danger.
Do you see yourself in a parallel universe?
I don't know. It's like doppelgangers. What's that about? Is that parallel universe-ficationology?
And doppelgangers are, I think, something different. People have seen, just FYI, y'all, people have, like, different people. I'd say at least 6 or 7 people in my lifetime have seen my doppelganger. And I'm like, I seriously was not there. I was like in another town, miles away. I've got proof people did see me. I was not where you think I was. But people tell me that quite frequently. So, I mean,
Aren't you supposed to die or something if you see your own doppelganger?
Well, I've never seen my own doppelganger.
Yeah, because you're still alive,
Yeah.
according to the theory.
Because I've never seen them, and yeah, according to the theory. But now I have seen other people's. I saw my daughter's doppelganger once. Crazy. That was a crazy experience.
Wait, you saw your daughter's doppelganger?
Yes. Um, and she was about 2 years old, and we lived in this big house. And she it was like a big old uh house, kind of like the one I live in now, but this one's better. But I saw her, I was chasing her down because I had to, I was getting her ready for something. And I saw her run. She was about 6 or 7 feet ahead of me, and she runs into her bedroom. And what I thought was behind the door, that was only a corner, there was no outlet. And I'm yelling, "Come here, come here." And I run into there, and I see immediately she's not in the room, and I look behind the door where I thought she was. She wasn't there. So I come out of the room, and I'm like, I just watched you, like with my eyes, these eyeballs. I watched you run into uh, the bedroom on the left, but when I looked, she was in the playroom on the right, sitting down, and was obviously engrossed in something and had been there. And I was like, oh, that's freaky, you know.
So this was. Wait, did you say this had happened at home?
Yes,
Like,
at the house
so you
that I
didn't like.
lived in.
Okay, so this wasn't just like in public. Like this was. So that's something else. Then that's like that can't be like a real person type the thing. It's like
Well, what is it? I mean, I know it's not a real person because she was in across the whole living room in this room, but I saw her in the bedroom on the other side of the house. I mean, I saw her run there, but she was actually, yeah. So what would you call that?
disturbing. Firstly, and then
Yes.
I don't know. A ghost. Maybe she was so distressed she created a ghost before she died.
She's not dead.
Before yeah, anything you do while you're alive is before you died.
Wow, that's deep. Why didn't I think of that? Oh my God. No, but you know what I'm saying. Okay. So okay. Uh, Let me go back to where we were talking. Okay, they did a scientific experiment. Hiawatha, I really would love to hear about this with actual scientists. What, for the portals or the parallel? I mean, I've heard very good explanations for parallel universes, but I, and here's my question. If you are in the woods and it is a portal, okay, the conditions are all right, you see the stake, you walk into the phone booth, and boom, you're in another dimension, you're in a parallel universe. Do you know that you are in a parallel universe? Or do you think you're just in your own universe?
I guess it depends on like how differently things change, like if the color of the leaves are purple and you'd be like, yeah, this is definitely a parallel universe, but if like the only thing different in that universe is that instead of saying Parmesan, they say Parmesan or something, you would have no idea. And you would hear it and you'd be like, oh, wait a minute, wasn't that called Parmesan? And then everyone would be like, no. Maybe that's the Mandela effect. Maybe we're all in different parallel universes. Maybe they're easier to slip through than you thought.
Yeah.
Which means that you could, be a terrible person and then decide to turn your life around, and people are like, oh, he's always been a good guy or whatever, because you accidentally happened through a portal or something.
So, like, I could be an evil queen in some other parallel universe.
Oh, maybe. Yeah.
I just can't see myself being that, but,
I don't know what, I don't know what makes it, what the big difference is, or even if there is a difference in between universes. There's lots of theories on that, like, I have a universe for every decision that you didn't make, or I don't know. If you believe in like infinite universes or infinite stuff like that, then it could be like one where you were born a monkey and you were raised by a platter of sandwiches. I don't know, something like.
That is definitely a bizarro parallel universe. I wouldn't want to be born a monkey, but that's just me.
Yeah.
Although, swinging from the trees by my tail. Doesn't really sound like a bad life, come to think of it. I don't know, it's
I always
better.
wish I was a cat when I was when I was in school. I'd get up every morning and I'd be like, I don't want to go to school again, and I'd just see the cat just sitting anywhere. Like, that's what I want to do.
I want to be a cat.
It would be nice.
I think that now as an adult. I look at Sachi and I'm like, you are so lucky. Like, you get to just eat and sleep all day, shred my curtains. Like, what a life, right? So Linda Gay said she has wanted to go to a parallel universe and run through the raindrops without getting wet. Now that would be cool, but I kind of like rain. Although that would be fun. All right, so one of the explanations is parallel universes or portals. Excuse me. And then another explanation is, of course, cryptids. How many of you, let's take a poll, how many of you believe in cryptids? When I say cryptids, I mean things like Sasquatch, Dogman, Mothman,
Spider-Man.
I wish there was a Spider-Man. I love some Spider-Man. But here's a good one. I recently learned that if you are alone and hear your name, not to acknowledge it, especially if you're outside in the dark. That brings up the Wendigo. Do you know about Wendigos?
Yeah, like if I'm at a party and I've just said something really stupid, that's how I know it's Wendigo.
Wendigo.
Yeah. Yeah. Exit stage left.
You goofball. That is Wendigo. Yeah. Very clever. Very clever you are. Let's see.
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't go that far.
Alan Coker says a friend of mine passed away, and after a time, a woman showed up at my door who looked just like her. Wow. Did you find out who she was? Was she a relative, or did she, okay. Let me keep on reading. He says something happened later on to that woman. Haven't heard from her since. Yeah, that is extremely interesting. Especially if she passed away. Like, was that a ghost? Was that, sorry, that the cat, shh, the cat's, want some attention.
I think earlier, Moonlight Rays said something like, how do you create a ghost? Wait, what was that? Is that what she said? I'm looking for that.
How do you... can you...
I'm looking for it. How would one create a ghost? I've heard, like, theories that, like, an emotional imprint or something like that could create a ghost. But I guess that depends on what your definition of a ghost is. You know, like, is it like a whole person, or is it like, when the air gets cold or something, or somewhere in between? I don't know.
I mean, are you saying it's a person's spirit, or is it a spirit that mimics a person? What are you trying to say?
I don't know. I wouldn't. Sometimes you can be like, and such. Okay, let me say this. Never in the history of ghost stories has there ever been like, oh, this ghost, man, they just so happy, and they close the door when I leave it open, and the lights they turn them off. It can help me save electricity. That's really, helpful ghost. They're always like in turmoil. It's always like,
true.
Oh, it throws stuff at me and scares me at night. So maybe it's just the sensationalization of ghost stories. And then no one cares about the good, happy, friendly ghosts. But I don't know.
Like Casper.
But if it is an emotional imprint, then that's like a philosophical thing to think, like, is it not possible to be so happy that you could leave an imprint like you could if you were in despair? That's kind of
yes.
sad, isn't it?
I will say this because I am, what's the word? Sensitive. There are some places that are extremely happy that have an imprint of very much happy. But I don't think, I think the reason, just my opinion, the reason that you have so much negativity with ghosts is because the imprint or the energy that's left has to be caused by an extreme emotion to imprint. And most of the time, your extreme emotions are going to be when someone passes away in a way that is very sad or brutal. I don't know how many, like, how happy do you have to be to imprint, is what I want to know.
Never mind. I had a very specific example, but
Okay.
it's a little. It may be too crude, but I will say that I don't know. Why is it easier to be in like total emotional disrepair than it is to be like ecstatic? You know, so ecstatic that you could leave a happy ghost, if that is how ghosts are made. Or what if there's like spirits that like feed on like an emotion and then they like mimic it after a while, you know, like how many ghosts appear that were like that just died suddenly and they didn't have like a chance to react. Like all the ghost stories I hear are like, yeah, they had been like depressed for like 45 years and then eventually they went on and then they wanted to get their revenge or something, you know. Maybe there's just like something like, I don't know, trying to, like I said, try to like feed on an emotion. And maybe there's not as much food for like positive emotions, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe because they seem to tend, don't they, y'all? They do seem to tend to feed off negative emotions like fear and whatever. So Dr. NBM says, I have seen my own doppelganger. I would love to hear that story. And it might be in here. I just haven't got there. Hiawatha says, I saw a Sasquatch. So have I. So have I. Let's see.
You're sure it wasn't someone that your family had hired to be the Easter Bunny, but they either didn't wash the costume or they couldn't find the right one at the party city, and all they had was like gorilla, and they're like, well, this will have to do.
No.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely not. Absolutely. That's a longer story. If y'all want to hear it at some point, I will tell. It's more than one thing. It's the one time I actually saw him, and it lasted long enough for me to have no doubt. But there was a lot of other things and other people that also were affected and saw and heard stuff. So, let's see. Let me catch up here. Yoli's like, I believe in Mothman. That was a crazy thing, right? So many people saw Mothman. It's like, how are you going to tell people they didn't see what they saw? It's kind of like the missing 411. How are you going to say this didn't happen when the people who were in a group, they say this happened just like this. They just went poof. So how are you going to say it didn't happen?
What was Mothman?
Mothman was a big winged creature, and this was in Point Pleasant. If you watch, there is a movie called The Mothman Prophecies where all kind of people saw this creature, and it had red glowy eyes, and it would fly, and it would sit on top of buildings and all this kind of stuff. And then it was an omen that something terrible was going to happen. Well, eventually, after all these Mothman sightings, at Point Pleasant, it was close to Christmas time, and all these people were on a bridge. The traffic was slow, and some people said they saw Mothman on the bridge, but the bridge just, for whatever reason, just crumbled. People plunged into the water, they died, and all kind of stuff. So it's like, But now other people have seen winged creatures like that, and I don't know if it's not Mothman, but at Point Pleasant, there are a lot of Mothman statues, and, it's kind of like Area 51 where they have all the alien stuff. It's like, if you want to know about Mothman, you want some memorabilia, go to Point Pleasant. So, yeah, it's crazy. I'm interested in this question too. Let's see. Okay. This is from Dr. NBM. This is about she said she saw her own doppelganger. Yes, totally spoke to her and people. What? You spoke to her and people took pictures. I was at work at the time and my boss and coworkers were confused, as were her friends. Wow. Wow.
I should do a reverse
How does
image
that
search and
happen?
see if I can find that. Theoretically, I can search for my own picture. That is hilarious. You should give that a shot. I'm really curious about that. Her friends were confused? Were you the doppelganger the whole time? Or is like,
Yeah. If you see your doppelganger, that is a good question. Are you the real person or are you the doppelganger? How do you know?
you think when God's making people, sometimes he hits Control V by mistake? You know? Like, whoops.
Whoops.
There's
Hey.
another one. I dropped two of them right in the southeast. Oh, man.
Maybe. I hope they never meet. Yeah. And she says it was a weird feeling. Now, people who have seen my doppelganger, like I said, swear it was me, that they were very close, not taking pictures close, but passing by in a car very close. And I'm like, are you sure it just wasn't somebody that had, was kind of similar to me who drove my same car? No, I passed by your car. It was you. No mistake. And I'm like, I was actually about 20 miles in the other direction at that time. Sorry, it was not me.
I've had that happen to me technically, which is weird because it's like, okay, there's it's like statistically there are less people now that have not seen their doppelganger than there are who have, or at least have had someone mistake someone for you or whatever.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that statistically?
I mean, so far in this conversation or discussion, everyone in chat's like, yeah, we ate breakfast together. We exchanged phone numbers. They're still my pen pal. It's like weird stuff. Like, I mean, I don't know.
But do they have your same name? That's what I want to know. Like,
well,
if you're a doppelganger, are you the same? Like, are you the same person? I don't understand.
They won't have the same name. No, at least not that I would know of, because I have a very unique name, and I Google searched my name in what website was it? There's something like name. I don't remember the name. What it is like they check and see how many people in the world have your exact name, and I was the only one. I was singular, only person with my exact name. So
I know what your name
unless
is.
that guy's going by alias for nefarious purposes. I hope he doesn't get into the cartel business and get me in trouble.
Oh, yeah. I do know your name, and I would say there is a 0% chance of anybody else having that name.
It would be weird.
Unless you have a son and you name him after yourself.
Well, but then they would be like the second,
Okay, let's see. Moonlight Race has seen an angel. They can be really scary. Angels can. Mythical. Sometimes at night when I'm in bed, I swear I can hear people talking, but I can't understand what they're saying, and sometimes music. I've had that experience, but it was like a ghostly one here. But did you know, I don't know how often this happens now, but this was a phenomenon. It's been years ago that they did a documentary on it. Some people who have braces or a lot of metal can pick up radio stations.
Yo, that's sick. Bro, talk about bionics, bro. Cybernetics, dude. Sign me up. There's this radio station I can never. It's like 91.7. I can never get a hold of it. It's always spotty, bro. I gotta get some like some braces with some freaking walrus antennas or something to come out, get a hold of that thing. Oh my goodness, brother. That is so
But
cool.
it's crazy. But now this was back in the days that everything was, I guess, was it analog or was it even before analog? I don't know. I remember as a kid watching something about how some people can pick up radio stations. I'm like, well, dang, I don't pick up anything, but you know.
I guess I'm going to be letting my free trial of Sirius XM expire. You know what I'm saying?
Who needs you? I've got metal. But how do you turn the station? What if
that's you go to the dentist and they tighten the screws. It's like changing the dial.
Oh, dang it. Okay.
That's why Invisalign isn't as popular as it used to be, because people are like getting free. Anyway, continue. I'm sorry. That's so stupid.
Yeah.
Stupid.
I was 19 and working at the Gap. She was walking through the dressing room, as was I, and we both slowed and stared at each other. Wow.
Did you slap 5? One of those?
What's up? I would freak out.
Well, really?
Yeah.
Is it just because
the world
they look
doesn't need two of me?
Oh, brother. Man, if I met someone like me, I would be ecstatic. The chaos that we would be able to cause. Man, did you talk to them long enough to know if they had a similar personality, or were they your doppelganger in appearance alone? Like, just
I don't know.
physically?
Does anybody know? Alan says that years ago a talk show had twins lookalikes, doppelgangers. Was it like, were they the same, or that they just looked the same and they had different personalities, different names? I don't know. Very interesting. All right, I'm so far behind on chat. Oh, that's interesting. When my mom was in a nursing home, she saw a dog we had 10 years earlier. Odd thing about it, I saw it too. Just for a second. Huh. So I wonder if your animals just stay around you. On my other channel where I do the ghost stories, a lot of people have that experience. It's crazy. Okay. I should do a reverse image search and see if I can find that chick. Theoretically, I can search with my own picture. Yeah, hey, that is a good idea. Let us know what happens when you do that. That is that's crazy. I know we're kind of off of the missing 411. We'll get back to it. Don't give up on us. We're coming back. We're coming back around that mountain. You Rain Bungle, have never had a doppelganger?
Well, I have. Well, not that I've met, but there was a time I drove a 2001 Pontiac Grand Prix with a back left window that was shattered that I had used duct tape to create a new window with, and it made the most awful sound anytime I reached over 40 miles an hour. And it was unmistakable. I never ran into the problem where I'm like, where did I park? Because that rusty old jalopy was always like such an eyesore. You could not miss it. And one day, a friend of mine was like, hey, I thought you were, I don't know where I was supposed to be. I thought you were at this place. I just saw your car over here. And I'm like, nah, Chief, that's not me. I'm over at this place that I said I would be. And he's like, he gets mad at me. Like, that guy did not believe in doppelgangers, and he was like, no, I just saw you. Same haircut, same stupid broken window. I'm like, my friend, I am at my friend's house. I've been sitting in the dark for a long time. I don't know where you saw this guy. And he's like, listen, you don't have to lie to me. I don't need to know where you're going. Just don't lie. I'm like, it was before I had like a phone that could just take selfies or whatever. But I didn't have a picture of the newspaper, so I wouldn't be like, this is today's date. I'm at the friend's house, so, I don't know, but he was mad at me, but I've never met him. But apparently I have one, so.
Somebody has a question. Do you want to answer this?
Yeah. And the answer is I want to answer the question, and the answer to the question is also, yes.
Yes, and I was gonna let him answer that. I didn't actually say who was gonna be on with me.
Okay, but like, if
how did you know that, Hiawatha? How did you know? Brain Bungle is my oldest child.
If you like, okay, wait. Would you like to? Do you want to answer this question? Like, oh, no, I'm someone else. It's like at that point, it's like
You.
cat's out of the bag. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
but
How
yeah.
did you know? I want to know how you knew. We sound nothing alike. Yes, he is my son. And I mean, like, look, just listen to that voice. It's like, why are you not doing radio? Why are you not doing YouTube?
Say, can you
I didn't say that. I was like, why are you not reading things or whatever?
by the dawn's
Oh my gosh. You don't want to go into Dollar Tree with him because that's what he's going to do. He's going to sing the Star Spangled Banner.
It's just when I go into a store, I'm like, these are the things that I need, and then I go into the store and then I acquire those things that I needed, and then I leave the store. Okay, but there's this phenomenon that happens when the two of us are together, where every object that they have purchased for resale must be fully inspected and touched and gazed upon and pondered about. And at a certain point, I'm just like, I got to get out of there. I got to say, I don't know, I got to do something.
Yeah. Yes. Okay, back to the story of the dressing room and the doppelganger. I was 19. So, hush, hush, hush. I was 19 and she was 17. I'm 5'8". She was 5'7". So that makes Dr. NBM the real person. But was she you? Like, it was.
Wait, you're the real one because you were taller
and older.
Oh, I get the real like. Oh, first I made just like YouTube comments, huh? First comment. I was here first. I made it. I'm the first one.
No, because she was older and taller. So what I'm wondering is, was your doppelganger you like 2 years before, and you like grew a little bit more, or that? I mean, is it like a time loop? My roommate was also my coworker, and she was confused. Oh, wow. Yeah, because your roommate really knows what you look like. Excuse me.
Were you freaked out because you're supposed to like perish if you see your doppelganger, or just because it was too freaky? Like, because you could have done those cool twin pranks, where they like hold up like it's just like a sheet of glass, and you think it's a mirror at first, and then you wave at somebody, and then the other guy's like, "Hey, can you help us out?" And they're like, "Whoa, that's not a mirror. Those are two people." Never mind. Or like I don't know. You ever seen twin pranks? There's so much potential for prankery if you meet your doppelganger. If you befriend your doppelganger, yeah. Tomfoolery even. Shenaniganery.
I am a shenanigator. I am definitely a shenanigator. I shenanigate whenever possible.
Shenanigator. I just thought of a very mischievous crocodile or something. Anyway. Crocodiles and alligators are not the same thing. Moving on.
No, they're not. One night I had a song pop into my head. I found it was from 1928. Never heard of it before. That's crazy. You know what? There was a song. It's been a bunch of years ago. I was getting ready for work, and they said, hey, we have a brand new single out by, this popular group at the time, and, we're going to play it right now. Debut song. And they started playing it. I knew every word. I sang along with it. I knew the melody. I knew the words. I was like, yeah, this is just a redo. Found out, no, it was the original song debuting that day. I had never technically heard it before, but I knew how it went and I knew all the words. So there you go.
Sounds like the potential for a backstory. Like you got drunk at a bar and you were just singing, and then someone wrote the lyrics down, and then you forgot, and then they went on to publish
Except I don't go to bars and I don't drink. So there you go.
So you did all that sober and forgot. Wow.
I know, right? Okay, the doppelgangers seemed alike in personality as well as appearance. I should note I have super curly giant hair, which she also had. Yeah, wow. Okay, so you have to wonder, did one of y'all come through a portal? Is it a doppelganger? Is it a parallel universe? Did one of you just like pop through there? I don't know. Um, those are some interesting stories. That's the thing about doing a live uh, brain bungle is that you get so much. You get to know people and and find out things you have like no idea. Like I had no idea Hiawatha saw a Sasquatch. Um, it's crazy. It's crazy. Y'all are very very interesting. You need to do. Yes, please tell him that. We need to do more lives together. Man, this is one of the things, like, what I'd say, well, not recently because we've both been so busy with work and whatever, but I'd say we used to have at least, what, one good conversation a week that was deep and crazy and would last for hours about, contemplating the universe, which is why I told him with your voice and your thoughts, you should be doing this.
Yeah. I was going to say something. I have no idea. I forgot. It got interrupted by another thought, which I also forgot. So
I do that. Look, I do that on lives all the time. Okay, Shelby's telling a story, but I'm going to see the end result of that one. So, okay, let me start with this one. Shelby Rain says, I had a neighbor who went to the woods and unalived himself. Since he did it in the woods, I hung out. I felt the need to bless the area. Yeah. I said a prayer and lit a candle. Later that night, our power was off in August in Mississippi. Oh my God, bless your heart. August in Mississippi with no power is akin to Alabama with no power in August. Yeah. I was sweltering in my bed when out of nowhere I heard what sounded like a hairdryer and ice cold air on my back. No, that would be welcome, actually. Wow. Wow. Uh,
that sounds like a friendly ghost to me.
yeah, that one's doing you a favor. Absolutely. Um, Hiawatha says, y'all are really funny together and you do have that voice for radio. Yes, he does. I used to be I used to be a DJ years ago. At which point my ex-husband said I had the face for radio. I'm like, yeah. Double high, middle fives to you. Okay, back to the missing 411. Okay, let me share this. Oh look, we can do this. No, don't make me do this. Okay, fine. It's not gonna let me. I guess I left it sitting there too long. All right, let's do this one. Sorry. I think this is the one that has the. Yeah, let's go back up here. All right, this is talking about the disappearances. Missing 411. That is actually a very beautiful walk right there. If you don't get taken by a Wendigo or a skinwalker. Here's the mind-boggling part. Since 1752, thousands of visitors to national parks and forests in the western U.S. and Canada have disappeared. Thousands. Sometimes they return and sometimes they don't. What makes these disappearances strange is the fact that once they happen, mum's the word. Beyond the standard 7 to 10 day investigation window and period of grief for those, I'm sorry, my dog's going nuts. For those affected by the disappearances, no one talks about it. That's right. That is true. On these cases, like you might have somebody looking for a hot second and then they just don't talk about it. Okay, take, for example, I'm guessing here. So if I am slaughtering this, then Alois, is that Bungle? Would you say that name is Alois crossed?
Alois?
Alois? Alois.
Alois?
Alois?
I watch a guy who streams, and that's his name.
What is
So Alois.
it? Alois. A 62-year-old German physics professor, a highly skilled mountaineer who vanished in Lake Arrowhead. Then there's Jared Leto. That's weird, though, because there is an actor named Jared Leto. Different one. A tiny 3-year-old who went missing from a trail in northern Colorado. His shoes later turned up, laces tied and all, but Jared didn't know how to tie his shoes when he went missing.
Yo, he could be a talk show host, but didn't know how to tie his shoes. I don't know. That story doesn't make sense to me.
Years ago, I was doing some peripheral research in a national park.
This is David
Noticed a
Paulides.
couple park rangers following me around, which isn't that right away.
Okay. So that whole thing is on Gaia TV, which I don't have a subscription to anymore. But very interesting, and that's the thing. There are David Paulides he's written several books. He's come under a lot of fire too, because I mean, let's face it. When you go out and you say these missing people could have been in a portal, they could have been taken by a Sasquatch or a dogman or something like that, or what are the other explanations? Oh, y'all help me. But aliens, aliens sucked them up into the alien world. When you start talking like that, you're going to get a lot of flack. And so, but there have been several documentaries that talk about this, and I can't play them or I'll get a copyright strike. Yes, you need a playlist. You know what? I'll do that. I will do that, and I'll put it on the community page. What about that? There's a lot on YouTube. Actually, all you have to do is put in missing 411. So with all of these, Brain, all of these explanations, what do you think is the most likely?
Really, I don't know. I don't know. I guess without looking further into it or knowing a whole lot about it. I mean, obviously, like, the cynic in me wants to be like, yeah, they were like drunk or negligent or lost sight of it, or just wandered off, felt too comfortable. I mean, how many people do you know who like way too confident, you know what I mean, in their own ability or their own safety? They just like go on, and the woods, there's a reason most folk don't live in the woods. It's because it's dangerous. But some people are like, I'll go gallivanting. I got my walking boots on, and I watched a survival video in high school, so I think I can handle this, So I don't know. Typically I would say that it's probably negligence, but then there are some stories where it's a little of both. I don't know. I personally was fascinated with the concept of aliens and ancient civilizations and things that happened way back in the day, what's the name of that star? The pyramids in Egypt. They point like explicitly to a home star that was like that had been written to be like the planet of these like extraterrestrial folk that had like helped the Egyptians develop or something like that, and all sorts of stuff like that. So typically I think like either people were negligent or there's like some weird like it's difficult. I think there's more documented about the existence of like extraterrestrial creatures than there is documented about like, I don't know, like what are they called, centaurs and stuff, like wood people, like elves or something, like nymphs that like open portals. But that's just me. I know that like, I different people have different like expectations being in different circles. So, I don't know, but if they weren't just negligent, then, I'm like, I don't know. It's really tough to say because, the problem with stuff like what, Paulides coming under fire is that like if you've got a strange opinion for some reason, people aren't excited about it, I mean, the CIA
I
only
am.
recently declassified, UFO, like knowings of the goings on about extraterrestrial, whatever beings, activities, and things of that nature. I guess the general populace is just too, like, I don't know. Some people, I guess, just prefer to. I don't know. I don't know how you could do the same thing every day. Like go to work, go home, go to work, go home, go to work, go home, retire, don't go to work, get bored, and then that's it. Without like wondering, like, why am I here? What else is here? How did life begin? Where does life end? Is life only on Earth, or is it somewhere else? Is there another type of life that isn't strictly or purely physical? Could it, like, what is the science of spirituality? Does it have something to do with like the electricity that our bodies radiate and the fields that surround us, or if there are beings that are able to operate in that sort of realm? Like, who knows? But so I don't know really what it could be, because I have never been abducted, and I always wanted to be. I always wanted to be the guy to fall through a portal. I always wanted to be the guy to be like to fight a Wendigo or something like that. Like, but no, it's never happened to me. I just got to hear other people's stories.
Yeah, I mean, well, I definitely think that we all are born with the inherent sense that there is more. There is more.
It's impossible to not think that there is, considering how sentient we are. The fact that we're able to have this conversation means that there's something more to human beings than just like consciousness being seated in the brain. I think that there's like the fact that you can be sentient and you can even be like, oh, the brain named itself. Ooh. Like there's a certain level of like meta like perceptibility that like really states that humans are more than just flesh and bone. But how much more, or where does it lead, or what the truth of it is? I mean, like, what does religion play into it? What do like extraterrestrial beings have access to seeing or have access to manipulate? If there is like this weird like spirituality, like magic of sorts, are there like fairies and stuff like that? And the thing I think that really drives me crazy is that there's always these like theories and like all this stuff, but like people tried forever to get like a photo of Bigfoot, and then they just got a guy in a suit to do it instead. But everyone has a cell phone, so it leads me to think that they've got to be able to act on some sort of other plane than just the physical one. If no one's taking photos, I mean, if I want to take a photo of something, boom, you're right there, And there you go. It's that quick, even if I was being mauled by a bear. And if I was getting mauled by a bear, I would absolutely hit the record button. I don't want people to be like, oh, how sad, like I'd be like, bring it on. They'd be like, oh, he was brave and valiant, or maybe I would cry, but I would still want you to play it at my funeral, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, no? I mean, you could like edit it or something, or like I would like if I had the forethought, I would like try to keep the angle like the neck and above, so you wouldn't see whatever the bear is doing to me. I don't know why I'm obsessed with bears this fine evening, but anyway, the thing is, I guess, is just that there's certainly more. Every culture in the history of the world has sensed that there's something more, whether it was the power of the sun or it was like. I mean, there's like, Greek and Roman gods. There's a god for everything. Like, what is the concept of God? I mean, does being human inherently give you like the sentience to see that you exist in the third person, give you the ability to also say that there must be something greater? And then, is there like, I mean, I don't know. There's a whole lot of schools of thought, I guess, in that regard. But like, you asked me a very vague question, so I started rambling. You're like, what do you think it could be? I mean, I don't know. It could have been an arrow. It could have been, a meteor hit somebody and fell. They could have tripped and rolled down a hill, A black hole could have sucked it. Sinkholes. Do you have any idea how many sinkholes there are? Anyway, and then leaves could just cover them up, because they sink and then they refill. The earth shakes and moves, It could have been really, really windy, and they had like a really large umbrella, and they just got sucked away. You have no idea. So, I mean, what could it possibly be?
There is a theory, okay, for people, and you're talking about being able to take a quick picture. There is a theory that cryptids they come through a portal and they leave through a portal. Like they're so quick, and that they are not. What is the word for something that's not from Earth, but they're able to come and go? you know? And that's why it's so hard to, that's why they're so elusive, I guess.
What's the point? Like, okay, but brother, hear me out. If they're like, oh, they're like elusive and stealthy and all that, but they have access to portals that humans can't even dream of existing. Like, brother, like if I had, if I could so much as be invisible or hard to see, I could rob a bank. You know, like what do cryptids have to be secretive about? What are they afraid of? Are they still susceptible to guns? Or like, oh, it's
What if
like,
they're aliens? What if they're trans-dimensional creatures and they don't want to, you know, they don't want you in their business?
oh, but they want to be in your business.
I don't know.
Like, think about it like this. Like, if they're abducting people, like, if there's any valuable resource that us as humans possess, right? And people and things are abducting us, and they have access to powers that are beyond our understanding. They could very easily, if they aren't in very, very, very few number, they could easily just conquer the earth and turn us into like some sort of animal farm and be able to harvest our resources that way. Why do they gotta be like secretive? And that's the thing, like, again, the cynic in me is like, do people just like an air of mystery and they like attribute it to things that, but again, I don't know. I haven't heard a lot of these stories. So it's like, from my current perspective, it's easier for me to be like, unlikely that it was like, you know, a sentient woodland creature, you know, more likely that, you know, but then again, I believe in aliens. So it's like, maybe I'm, you know, off my rocker.
Well, the stories vary so much, but usually it has to do with even if their bodies are found. But here's the thing: sometimes children are taken and they are found many miles away in a situation that they could not have possibly in that period of time gotten to this area, like up on a mountaintop or, you know, something like that. And these kids are found, and anybody, I will say this, anybody who was a short time missing 411, if they are found alive, they don't have any memory at all of what happened. They know they were on the trail or wherever they were, and then they wake up on a mountaintop, you know, with no shoes on. A lot of them don't have shoes, which is very bizarre to me.
That isn't
like, are aliens stealing your shoes? Like, do they have a fetish for shoes?
No,
you have to wonder.
I mean, fetish is a weird word to use there, but I think that, I mean, if the shoeless thing, you know, I don't know, man. Like, we have so many other more valuable things, you know. Maybe I was actually interested in this comment that you have pulled up, by the way. I don't know anything about CERN, but I just...
Do you not know about
Googled
CERN?
it. No, I don't.
Okay, CERN is in the business of trying to create antimatter, which is the most ridiculous thing to me because...
But they are something that fundamentally doesn't exist, or the opposite of existence or something?
Well, it would... Technically, if you had, it would eat the planet. But also what they are doing, they are opening portals. It is weird. If you watch documentaries on CERN, it's scary. It's like, why is this allowed? Okay, please tell me why isn't somebody stopping this? Like, how is this allowed to exist?
Because... Just like, you know, warning labels like do not use hairdryer while sleeping or whatever. It's not a rule to not do the thing until it's proven to be incredibly deadly. You don't create laws on theoretical possibilities. And then you would, I mean, our lawmakers can't create laws on things that already happen every day. How do you think they're going to be able to regulate the theoretical?
Well, yeah, but I mean, it's like... It's kind of like, let me create a poison. I know it's poison. I know it's going to be deadly. But, hey, you know, don't stop me until I can prove how deadly it is. It's like, somebody stop me in the beginning. You know? Alan Coker, back in the 80s at Camp Hero, Long Island, New York, mind experiments were being conducted on teenage boys. One of them supposedly opened a portal with his mind. Yeah. And is that not, am I mistaken, but is that not the premise of...
the X-Men? I think so. I'm just kidding.
No, of Stranger Things. Things. Of, why can't I think? The Montauk experiment. Is that what you're talking about? The Montauk thing? Which they say didn't happen, but it did happen. But if it's not Montauk, it's very close to that. Yes. Hello, Molly.
So where are these
Molly
portals,
Lollipops.
theoretically, where do they go to? What
Well,
are they
that's
open
that's
to?
the big question, though, because as far as we know, nobody has gone through a portal and come back alive to tell. Or if some of these people, these missing 411 cases, did go through a portal and come back, they have no memory of what happened when they went in the portal.
So then why not like strap a GoPro to a rabbit or something and toss it in, and then
Yeah, but you like, when do you know that there's a portal? You know, if that, because they're saying now, could they be manipulated? Yes, I guess so. We do a lot of stupid things, but they're saying that it is a natural thing, like the wind, the humidity, the temperature, all these things have to be in perfect alignment, and when they are, a natural portal opens. And but where do you go?
space?
I don't know.
There's more space than there is Earth by like a lot, like a whole lot. So,
Well, sure.
so probably space.
But you like go in one end of the portal, and then when they find you on a mountaintop without your shoes, but whether you're alive or not, you like popped out the other end of the portal, or like I don't know.
Oh, I bet the portal goes to like the world of really fine gravel, and people take their shoes off trying to like knock it out, and then they forget, and they're like, "Where are my shoes?" Don't you just hate having a rock in your shoe? Isn't it
I really do. I really do. It's very uncomfortable. Yeah, if I will have to watch that Hiawatha Vanished on Hulu. Because I haven't seen that. And I do want to hear about these portals, because I don't know anything. Yeah, Samantha says dimension doors, possibly. Very similar. I don't know if they're exactly the same. But yeah, if you watch Stranger Things, of course it is it's not a documentary, but that is the whole thing about that show is opening portals and all the things, and it's very interesting. I'm gonna have to check out this other thing. So, I think that in some of these cases, they could be taken by cryptids. That's just my opinion, especially when they are found, 12 miles up a mountain that they couldn't possibly scale on their own. I'm like, they could have been taken. But it's interesting that most of the people that are taken are of like a higher intelligence. Like, these creatures or portals, they don't want no dumb folk, okay? So maybe if you're not so bright, you're safe.
Every movie I've ever watched that has like a representation of someone being taken by a UFO, and they go to interview the guy, even documentaries, like, so sir, what was it like to be taken by a UFO? Well, man, I'm talking about, man, I was dang in my sleep now, and then I walked outside and I seen some light. I didn't know where it came from, and I walked outside, and I just sucked me up right up in there, and then I ain't got no idea what happened, man. I peered back on the ground, dude, and my shoes was gone. And I'm like, I just spent $20 on them, man. Now where am I going to be? My next paycheck ain't coming in till Thursday, and I ain't going to be able to go to work without the shoes, man. Damn aliens, they ain't got no manners. So I don't know, it's never like, it's never like a really well articulated like experience in my experience.
Yeah, so. It is true. But don't you think that they pick the worst people to interview? I do.
Oh, yeah.
It's just like when we have tornadoes down here. People, there are a lot of intelligent and educated people in Alabama, but do they ever interview them in the neighborhood? No, it'd be like, it
seems like aliens like specifically avoid scholars with like a pocketbook. You're like, okay, this is with this brushed metal. Okay, ooh, that's a strange sensation. No, it's always a man who's like missing teeth. I don't know if he had all of them before he was abducted, or like, it's I don't know, man.
Or it's I guess it's good television. Describe the tornado. They're not asking. They're not asking the doctor whose house got hit. They're asking.
Yes, when the cumulonimbus forms. Man, there was goddamn. I was outside, man. I said, I was like, golly, I gotta get to batten down the hatches. Where's Lucky? He's my puppy, and man, I gotta take care of him. He belonged to my daughter-in-law. That whole thing. So, I mean, yeah, you're right. Again, sensationalism, but that's why I'm afraid of that's why I'm afraid of hearing hearsay stories and stuff because I feel like I don't know. I like the idea of believing in aliens because at least to me it makes more sense that they would exist. But as far as cryptids, I don't know much about them, but I don't know why they would exist personally, or why they would abduct people either. I mean, with aliens,
what do they want with us?
Who?
The cryptids. Why do they want us? I don't know.
Maybe they. I don't know. Maybe it could be anything. Biology. Maybe it's cryptids have high school biology, and we're the stuck pigs. That's all. Here's the very, what's the word? Primitive. This is the very primitive. This is the primitive form of the digestive system. You notice it's got a long tube and then a short tube, and then you need to. Here's your sticky notes or whatever. And we're just being. It could be like that, or it could be harvesting our souls or something like that. Who knows?
Wow, that's scary.
Maybe our teeth are precious ivory, and they have pianos made out of human teeth. I don't know.
I don't know. Low Light Recovery says, when aliens make it so I don't have to go to work on Monday, I'll believe. Hey, I'll jump on that alien bandwagon. I'll be like, aliens for president if I don't have to go to work on Monday.
Brother, I tell you what, you go into work Tuesday and you say, and they're like, hey, you were no call, no show on Monday. What happened? You're like, aliens, man. I don't know, dude. I was sucked up. Then you'll be on there. My alien, gust up. You just be the next one like that, I guess. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I'm all for getting out of work, and if I thought that it would, I could say, hey, Wendigo got me.
I'm sure you'll still have a job come Wednesday. Surely.
I don't know.
Surely.
Prove it didn't happen.
Yeah. That's how the judicial system works now.
Yeah.
Burden of proof is on the accusator. Okay, buddy.
Yeah.
Okay. So until you can prove that it wasn't aliens, I'll be at my desk. I got a sandwich in the fridge.
That's right. Let me take a poll of y'all. I just want you to write a comment of, okay, let's see, for Missing 411, is it cryptids? Is it portals? Is it aliens? I want to see what y'all are thinking.
On the poll?
Yes, absolutely. I'm saying cryptids. I mean, I got no explanations. Maybe cryptids are what Nephilim turned into. Possibly. That would explain their height, wouldn't it?
Where's this poll?
No, just type it in the comments.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. I'm signed into my... I think I'll pass on typing in chat. It's just my first and last name is my username.
Oh, yeah, don't do that.
That's a bad idea.
Bad idea. Let's see. We've got cryptid, portals, cryptid, Yogi Bear. Always. Aliens. Okay.
Yeah, someone type aliens for me.
Let me type aliens. I don't know. I don't know how. I'm not so dense as to think that there's not something else out there. Unless, okay, here's just hypothetical. Okay? Just a reasoning. I don't know how reasonable it is, but we've got this planet, and then we've got all the other planets and galaxies and all that and we're just a tiny little speck. Like, we're nothing. Tiny little speck into nothingness. Oh my. Okay. And what if it's not other planets with other creatures like we tend to think there is? What if all of this, the galaxy expanding, because they keep saying the universe expands and expands and expands like all the time. What if it is a difference in, I don't want to say parallel universes, but kind of. Like when you make a decision, when something else happened, it's kind of like the butterfly effect. And it causes all these different realities to spawn so much that it actually turns into other planets and galaxies. I mean, it's just a thought. Do you know what I'm saying? Am I making sense?
Yeah, that
Probably. That is the stupidest thing I ever heard.
oh, I wasn't going to say that so specifically, but no, I mean, I don't know. There is a lot of interesting concepts when it comes to the idea of the size of our universe and the size of the compared to the size of the observable universe and how large it is, and if the edges of our universe are actually the maybe the exterior barrier between a larger universe outside of that. That universes can that they can essentially collide and all that, but I don't know how much of that I subscribe to. I think for sure the universe is too big to have housed life for only us. I think that while, yeah, it is really unlikely that our specific breed of biology would be able to survive in any other conditions than the set distance we are from the sun and the water that we have and all that, I think our understanding of life is relatively limited, considering we only have access to understanding life that exists on Earth already, right? Like,
Right.
like, do other beings need blood to live? Do they? I mean, what is life really? Is it sentience, or is it like, because then plants wouldn't really be alive, or depending. I mean, I don't know. So it's tough to say. I will say something that is interesting to me is that everyone's like, aliens are always going to be like super high tech and advanced and all that, but I mean, shoot. Is that like a requirement? I mean, I figure there's got to be like primitive forms of life that are less sentient or like lower IQ, or I mean, or are we the low IQ, or is that like a philosophical, like hopeful theory that there's like a greener pasture out in a different planet? I don't know.
Isn't that kind of like dumbed down and simplified? Isn't that kind of like Horton Hears a Who?
Yeah.
I mean, really.
Sure.
I mean,
yeah. Yeah, kind of. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Yeah.
So, Dr. Seuss may have really been. I mean,
doctor,
he was
after all, a real doctor.
He might have really been a very high intelligence. I mean, like, who thinks of things like that? It's a really cool thought. I mean, are we just this tiny little dot on a little? Yeah.
Well, I mean, Horton himself wasn't like a nuclear physicist. If I recall correctly, he was an elephant. So it's like, if there is life outside of our planet, are they like us, or is it like similar? I did see there was a period of time where I would just absorb any, I would consume any entertainment or information about aliens from like any source, and I would just like try to like filter it later. And I've heard from two different people that there is a galactic ban on crossing Earth's boundaries. So
what is that? Okay, wait a second. Explain that to me. I don't know what you're talking about.
So far as I understand it, there is a treaty or like a pact, or like we're quarantined, that Earth is quarantined from extraterrestrial life, and that they're not able to actually cross into our world or whatever. For what reasons? I've got lots of theories, but I mean, I don't know. But I've heard that from a couple of different folks from like, but again, you know, it's not like it's tough to figure out the validity of people like claiming these kinds of things because, you know, it's like, who's the expert on like theoretical existence, you know?
Okay, so I've never heard that before, but that just made me think, what if there's a ban on it? Because what we actually are is a research project. Okay, like if you have a cage or whatever of rats that you are doing experiments on and you know, teaching them different things or whatever you're doing, like you can't interact, like you can't change, you know, you're not allowed to get all, you know, in the muck of that because you've got to see what the rats would do. So what if Earth is just like an experiment and it's like nobody wants to touch that, like they're just all sitting back like, holy crap, you know? I mean, seriously, if there is a ban, because why would, unless we're just that diseased, which is quite possible, but it seems to me like that you would ban it if we are a research project. It's like you can't just let it take its course. Let's see what these crazies will do.
Yeah, I am interested in that concept for the fun of the idea, but it is not at all difficult to extrapolate what will happen to humans in 1,000 years from now. I mean, considering the state of things that have always been and the way that they're going, it's going to be a constant war state, and it's going to be, you know, brutality and vies for power, and then eventually it'll collapse. You know, whether it be from, you know, one kingdom taking over and it, you know, collapsing from greed or whatever, or it's like nuclear fire or whatever, who knows, you know, it's like, I think it's interesting, the thought experiment that this is a science project type of situation, but, it's like if there were beings like sentient outside of us that were intelligent enough to come up with that whole plan, then the extrapolation of what would happen is, unless we're like, you know, we're like, what are those things called? Those self-contained ecosystems, you know, you put like plants in and water and then you close the lid. Anyone know what that's called?
Like a terrarium kind of, but
it's an enclosed terrarium. There's like a name for a biodome. I don't think that's it. It's like, but you know what I'm saying. Unless we're like a biodome in like some alien's bookshelf or something, you know. But
okay, well, this is disturbing. Molly Lollipop says someone told me before we never went back to the moon because they told us not to come back. Wow.
I'm just. That makes me think like a moon farmer. Get off of my land! These are mine moon taters, and you can't take them.
They get the big shotguns out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you come back? Yeah.
When you say they, like just the folks on the moon, like, get on out of here. You know, I don't know. You know what is interesting, and you know it's difficult, like the moon landing and everything. I think, you know, there are a lot of reasons I believe that it was real, but there's also even more reasons that I believe it would be faked. Namely, the importance of winning the space race during the Cold War, but also the fact that, based off of what we've observed with those probes that we sent onto space and measuring the sizes of the planets in the solar system, that you could actually fit end to end every single planet in our solar system in the distance from Earth to the moon, which means that getting to the moon is probably really difficult, especially considering that there's no air pressure in space or air resistance, so you can't steer in space. You literally just shoot one time. You know, and considering we don't have like a really long tape measure or like a speedometer we can point at the moon, you know, it's tough to say like, hey, what specifically is this, like where will the exact pinpoint location of the moon be in a few months when we reach it, you know? It's difficult. What's the I can't think of the word, but you know what I'm saying. So I don't know. I think it would be much easier to get a studio and blow a fan and buy a flag and some rocks. I think that's a lot more reasonable. But then again,
Yeah.
like I want to believe that we're on the moon, but
I don't want to believe they were like throwing rocks at us though and saying get off my lawn. That's disturbing.
told us not to come back. Bro, it's our moon. It belongs to the Earth. That's what we call it, Earth's moon. Saturn's got like 8. I'm sure there's some like vacant property there,
Yeah, I don't know. Moon taters. They like
we
that.
put our flag on the moon, so now they know it belongs to the good old U.S. of A. That's contractually binding. We're gonna have to send the Space Force after. Oh my God, remember Space Force?
Gosh, not really.
Whatever happened to that, man? It was when Trump was in office. He was like, "We're gathering together a Space Force," which makes me wonder what he read in his debrief documents that the president gets.
Yeah.
He's like, "We need, we need space. We need the Space Marines. We need,
Space Force.
Yeah, you don't remember that?
Yeah, I don't really. I don't know. I some of those years I was just working so hard and doing so much stuff. I don't think I knew a lot of stuff, but that is concerning.
Yeah.
We're gonna go to like war with the moon people. I don't know.
Not just moon people, just anyone out there. Just folks out there. I don't know.
All right. Do you have any? Because we've been going for a while now, and I know y'all want to go to bed, and everybody's getting tired. Do you have any last questions for Brain Bungle? And if you think he should have his own channel, put it in the comments too. Yeah. Good night, Allison. I know, and I've got to get up at 4 a.m., so I can't be on here much longer. All right, I'll give you a second to think. Like, do you know the Jeopardy tune?
Bum 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 do.
Okay.
Bop ba bop 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 bop.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That was great. You definitely should. I think you should too. It would be a terrible thing. I mean, I think he would do great at reading stories, but it would be a terrible thing to not have that mind engaged. I'm telling you. Y'all could be a fly on the
military
wall.
called the Space Force. I need to see more about that. Let me actually find out what the parameters for Space Force was.
Yes.
Anyway, Space Force 1. I don't know.
Space Force 1. Yeah. Brain Bungle.
Well, everybody, I had a lot of fun hanging out here. What's that you gonna say?
Yeah, a lot of people are saying yes, you should have your own channel. Say I told you. I told you. I know.
Well, I don't know what I would talk about, really, but I'll consider it. As long as none of you steal my name, I don't want to come up with another one.
Brain Brumble. Okay. Yeah, but that's the thing. These are and honestly, when I say that which we go into a lot of other stuff besides space and aliens and stuff, but when I tell you that we have these kind of conversations, this is what we have frequently. Until both of our heads hurt, it's just like, I gotta stop. And digest all this. All right. But y'all I want y'all to have a great evening. Hope you enjoyed this. Hope you learned a little bit about missing 411. It wasn't about, there's so many individual cases. It was kind of like the theories. Thumbs up. Yes, please, if you haven't liked, please like. If you think anybody else would be interested in listening to Brain Bungle, please share. All right. Y'all have a very beautiful evening. Thank you, Brain Bungle, for finally coming on here. And all my people, stay safe. Whatever you do, just stay silky. And I will see you next time. Bye-bye.